Egyptian women have always been its trumping card, and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has shown great interest in enhancing their conditions, where women in Egypt have found unprecedented care and attention during the reign of the president that did not happen in the past. President al-Sisi reiterated that Egypt was among the first countries to outline a national strategy for women empowerment at the economic, social and political levels, as well as amending legislation which guarantee women's enjoying of full equality and equal opportunities in a way that led to supporting their influential participation in the social mobility without any distinction, along with securing their protection against all forms of violence and harassment and providing them with care at various stages of their age. Legally wise, Egypt's 2014 constitution enhanced the legal framework for women, as for the first time, 20 articles dedicated to addressing women's issues regarding ensuring equal opportunities for women, transfer the nationality to their children, allocate a quarter of the seats of local councils for women, social, economic and political rights, social security services, preventing discrimination, protection against all forms of violence, women's empowerment, commitment to care at various stages of their lives, and commitment to the international conventions on human rights, which all include the rights for women. Setting strategies, women always had the priority, as nearly up to 5 governmental strategies were announced during the past years for women empowerment, including Egypt's Vision 2030, National Strategy for the Empowerment of Egyptian Women 2030, National Strategy to Combat Violence Against Women, National Strategy to Combat Female Genital Mutilation, and the National Strategy to Combat Child Marriage. Among the efforts done for women empowerment was dedicating amounts from the national budget for child care services and for supporting female breadwinners and poor families. On the aspect of gender equality seal, Egypt is the first Arab country and the second globally to develop a certification program for government and private sector based on the success of the Gender Equality Seal. The seal provides Egyptian companies guidance on how to address challenges for women, such as access to work, wage inequalities, sexual harassment, work-life balance, and access to leadership positions. Nearly private sector companies have undergone a thorough process of the assessment.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, continuing our discussion with Dr. Nayef. Now, Doctor, you've mentioned the set of skills, the diverse set of skills Egyptian women have that enables them to work in any sort of industry or sector. Now, also, Egyptian women have a long and proud history of being part of the agricultural sector.
Very true.
And there's huge governmental efforts really working on empowering and enabling women have a lead role in this sector specifically. Now, we are approaching next month the COP27, and agriculture is a main sort of player in combating climate change. How would you rate these efforts, and what would you want to see as a result of this agricultural participation in terms of climate change and COP27?
Actually, you said that women, they have been always having a huge percentage of the participation in the agriculture ever since the dawn of history. And this is happening all the time, and it will continue to happen. The agricultural awareness, the greenery awareness of women, I don't have the percentage, but I think women tend to go more into the environment or the preservation of the environment. I think it's related to the gender. Again, the woman by nature is a protective of the children and protective of everything around her. And part of the things that women are now trying to protect is the environment. Just take a look at everybody around you, the small circle, because the small circle is really indicative of everything else. Take a look at the people around you, and you will see that who has the green fingers more? Gender differences, women. They are taking the lead. Rural areas, she's always there. in the field with her husband, taking care of the animals, but we need to do something there. We need to raise their awareness on what they are doing wrong, because they are helping in agriculture, but they are destroying certain things as well. So we need to let them see what's wrong in what they are doing. At the same time, we need to, I think, address both sexes. It's not just women. We need to let the people see that the climate change is due to the fact that greenery is not there all the time. Mother Earth is screaming, okay, save us, save me. And I think what we really need to do is tell them it's no longer something to change your mood or make you feel better or fresh or no. It's something for your own, what we say, the preservation of humankind. No greenery, no humankind. As simple as that.
Yes. Well, Doctor, now if we're talking about the different aspects, I mean, economic or political aspects, but there's also the social aspect of it. And Egypt has been working hard in trying to protect women's rights. I mean, it's all under human rights, but women in specific, and the children and youth, talking about combating
minorities.
Well, okay.
It's not minorities. It's the weaker part.
50%. I mean, if not even more. I mean, maybe even 60%. But I mean, we're talking about stopping and ending sexual genital mutilation, domestic violence, early marriage, domestic abuse, and all these sort of issues and problems and challenges related to the Egyptian family. How far do you feel that we have come, and what more needs to be done in terms of our government's efforts?
I think we are doing okay to some extent. I mean, this is not the case. Where we are now, if you look back, you will see that we came a long way, okay? But we still have a long way to go, okay? But see it globally. These problems are there everywhere, and the UN report, UN Women report, said that these, especially these, practically all the things you have said, are very far from being resolved worldwide. At least we are doing some, again, raising awareness, education. Start with the school, and start with the school, go to the universities. It should be part of what we call it the embedded curriculum, okay? That you talk about to the people about the pros and cons of everything. They need to see it. They need, and there's something we were talking in the break, and when I told you, I believe that we all the time say or attack the Egyptian men in general, but nowadays feminism is anti-men. This is not the truth. What I see is that Egyptian men in general, if we are going to generalize, they highly respect and appreciate women. Go and ask any man about his wife, his mom, his daughter, and you will see that they come first.
Well, Doctor, you've also mentioned there's a huge part where the language plays a part in it culturally, the linguistics of it as well. Can you shed more light on that?
One of the theories about language is that it does not just reflect culture. Language shapes the way you see the world. It's like the shade you wear, and it shapes the way you see things. Linguistically, when you start to talk about certain things, it sediments already existing ideas and ideologies. One of the things that really is a question mark for me, because they go along language and ideology all the time, and they reflect really the ideology and shape it. You know, you produce it and reproduce it all the time through language. But my remarks about when I observe people around me, especially the rural areas and so on, and I do a lot of observation there, I see that their language is really disparaging to women, especially the slang.
Yes.
But in the reality of things, in the real situation, things are not like this. So for the first time, I see language not portraying the truth. I do not know, it needs to be analyzed, this phenomena. How can language does not reflect the reality of the matters? But I think it's part of the fact that we got used to, or they got used to speak about women in this certain way. But this is not the way they feel it. So I think what we really need, this is called linguistic sexism, by the way, using language to disparage women or portray them negatively. And for example, there was the TV series El Kibir Awi.
Yes.
This character, El Kibir Awi, is always talking about his wife, whether Hadiya or Marbuha, in a very degraded, in a very negative way, disparaging way. Still, the message was that he really appreciates them, but the language says otherwise. This is exactly what's happening in the rural areas right now. They talk to women using certain words, which we see that they're very negative, but still this is not the case there. Day to day, the woman has the lead in many things, and it's not reflected in the language.
Well, we are running out of time, but a couple of points or questions that I want to ask now. Talking about the linguistics and the cultural and behavioral practices, whether be it at home or at the workplace. Now, Egypt is the first Arab country and the second, actually, globally, to develop a certification program for the government and private sector that would help secure women's rights, deal with any sort of sexual or linguistic harassments at the workplace. Now, trying to develop this and reshape or correct this cultural aspect of it, is it the job of the religious institutions? Is it the job of the media, the educational institutions, parents in the household? Who's the responsible person, the main responsible person for such an awareness?
Every single person, every single party you've mentioned. I mean, I mentioned El Kibir Awi. This is a sitcom which is very popular, but this should not be the case.
Yes.
El Kibir Awi should not be, because when you laugh at the way women are being treated badly, and the women are being talked about in a nasty way, and you laugh. And this is not new, by the way. You're talked about violence, physical and verbal. In the cinema, in the Egyptian cinema, we used to have, probably you're younger than to remember, but we used to have this, scene at the end in which the man slaps his wife because she is a very dominant person, and then she starts to act happily. This is poisonous. You are telling everybody, and everybody laughs, that it's okay to abuse women, to physically abuse women. So you need to start with the media, you need to start with the religious institutions, big responsibility there, and you need to start with the media is going and the religious institutions are going to affect the parents. So education, school, mosque or church, plus the media, and then you will find that the parents themselves have changed.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, obviously Egyptian women have not only been key and influential and instrumental in Egypt's modern history, but as Dr. Nayef has mentioned, it is embedded within our Egyptian civilization for thousands and thousands of years, and it is the job, a governmental job, a cultural job, a societal duty for us to really appreciate the pride and the cornerstone of the Egyptian society, women and their participation and building block of our political, economic and social life. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my very distinguished guest, Dr. Heba Nayef, the Vice Dean Instructional Affairs at the College of Language and Communication. Dr. Nayef, it's been a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you. It has been my pleasure.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nada International. I'm Henny Saif. Thank you for joining us.